Hi, my name is Bobby Seagull. I'm delighted to be here today to talk about the Managing My Money for Young Adults course. So first of all, welcome and thank you for coming. So can you tell me who you are and a little bit about your background?
Okay, so my name's Nicola. I'm currently in full-time education. I'm currently in my GCSE year of school. I'm hoping to carry on to do A-level and uni and then on to a career, so.
Perfect.
My name's Laura Edwards. I'm currently in full-time employment, having been to university and now developing my career.
So Nicola, I wanted to ask you about what you think will be the big financial challenges that you'll face over the coming years.
Okay, so I think personally my kind of next one is going to be kind of going off to higher education and going off to university. Obviously it's different for different people. People go off to do different things, so some people will move away straight away, kind of get a house, get a car, go very early into that sort of route, whereas I would rather kind of go slowly just through it, more easy kind of, you know, ease through it, don't rush into anything, go into higher education, get my education. So that would be kind of, you know, you've got to pay for accommodation, you know, if you want a car so you can get back and forth from uni, see your parents, things like that. Kind of the cost of doing the courses. So I'm definitely going to have to focus very much on that. But I have a savings account set up already, kind of set it up a few years ago, so that I'm not kind of frantically worrying in however many years' time going, oh my God, I need some money to pay for my courses and my car and my accommodation. I can say, I've already got that. Now I just need to worry about my kind of student loan and student savings and textbooks and things like that.
Thank you. So that's like a forward-looking perspective. So, but looking at it from a past tense, what were the sort of biggest challenges and problems that you faced financially?
So living at university in shared rental accommodation is a big challenge. You know, different people have different ways of managing money, but ultimately you need to have your rent paid, your bills paid, and, you know, covering all your costs. So managing money effectively during that time is really difficult. But it does continue, you know, different challenges arise, and when you've finished university, you know, your options are to move back home or look for alternative accommodation. And so, you know, whether you then move into the rental or buying a property market, you know, you're then faced with challenges in terms of saving up for those options and you know, finding the best route forward.
Thank you. So Nicola, so you're doing your GCSEs, you've got potentially A-levels coming up. People always talk about how higher education is expensive, lots of costs, and graduates come with lots of debt. Do you think it's worth going into higher education?
It's very kind of personal to each person. So every person will have their view on it depending on what they're going into. So for me, I would say yes, it's worth it, because I would want to go on to do that and kind of get, you know, a degree or maybe doctorate, anything, you know, depending on what you want to go into when you're older. So obviously, as long as you're aware of your finances during that time, I think it's definitely a good call to go into higher education. But, you know, there's obviously options if you do find that that's too much for you, kind of apprenticeships or kind of going straight into, some people say they've done work experience earlier on in their life with a career or certain company. Some people will go straight into that after they finish A-levels because they've already been offered a job and don't have to worry about that kind of financial aspect of going away and kind of sorting all of kind of the education side of it out when they've already sorted out their job and what they're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. So, and again, having gone through university, do you think it was worth it given the costs?
I completely agree with Nicola's point that it is an individual choice, and you have to make the decision based on what course you want to study, what career you want to go into. For me, it absolutely was worth it, and I loved every minute of going to university and really valued that time. It's quite often commented on how you're left with big student debts, and I feel this is kind of a little bit of a misrepresentation, because your student loans are paid back in manageable amounts. It's all relative to your income and your salary when you start working. So it's not a big scary debt that it's sometimes made out to be, and it's certainly, if that's the option that's right for you, it's absolutely worth it and manageable. I echo Nicola's comment about apprenticeships being a good option as well, and definitely people have to make informed choices depending on what they have researched and what they feel would be best for them.
Yeah, so it sounds like there are lots of options available for young people, but they just need to make sure that they've properly researched and understood all the options and ramifications.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, we'll start with you, Nicola, like how much financial independence do you have?
Okay, so I think had you asked me this how many years ago, it would have been pretty much none. As kind of when you're younger, it's more kind of you're very reliant on the adults, and you're being a child, you're getting through life. But as you grow up, so at my stage now, I'm fairly independent, depending on what it is. So say it comes to dinners and stuff, that all of those kind of costs are still very reliant on my parents for. But it comes to kind of shopping and school textbooks, things like that, and you kind of have to realise, okay, what of my money do I need for stuff that I actually genuinely need, like textbooks and course books and kind of stationery and everything for your education and things that are going to get you somewhere in life, and then things such as kind of clothing where you've already got kind of 3 of that top, you don't need any more particularly, it's just what you want. So you kind of have to balance what you need and kind of what you want, and you need to kind of make sure you're aware of what you have and what you don't have, so that you're not overspending, getting yourself into debt from kind of getting too excited about going, oh, I've got money. So I think at kind of my age now, you do need somebody there kind of keeping an eye on you a little bit, kind of saying, okay, how much you have, what do you need, what do you not need, and kind of as it goes through the years, kind of ease off of that a little bit and kind of leave you more independent on your own, rather than kind of just saying, okay, now you're on your own doing it. So I think it's nice now that people are kind of easing through it as they go through their kind of school years of getting more independent with their money and relying less on kind of adults and guardians to do it for them.
Excellent. So like you're sort of working your way through to becoming an adult and having that sort of full financial independence that we now have, Laura.
Absolutely.
So like from your perspective, like how much financial independence do you have, even as like an adult?
Well, I'm very financially independent now. I have my own property, and obviously have to pay my bills and pay my rent and run my car and manage life and all the expenses of it. Going through the journey of having to learn that as a young person, and I got a job when I was quite young. I started working sort of during college and university to be able to save up for big spends and things that I really wanted, and so that's carried through now to sort of having a regular salary and a regular income, and still applying that method of, if I really want something that's quite expensive, making sure it's affordable while you've still been able to sort of cover all your normal costs.
So it sounds like, how do you think a financial education can help? Let's start with you, Nicola, from your perspective.
Okay, now I can say definitely it's helping me, because I personally get stressed with education itself. So having that kind of financial education has helped me a lot with kind of removing the stress of financial stability and things like that, because it's definitely allowed me to kind of forget about that for a minute and just go, okay, I know this is what I've got financially and I'm stable, and if anything happens I can focus on that. But it kind of gives you more time and effort into what you actually are trying to achieve and your career path and everything like that. So say you were to go off to uni and you had kind of saved money for accommodation, everything like that, as a basis to start off with, and then as you went through you could focus more on your financial situation, so that when kind of Freshers Week or whatever, you get there and you're not going, oh my god, I need to buy food, I need to do all of this financially, and you can kind of just enjoy it and get used to being there and get used to kind of the new surroundings, rather than having to be completely focused on kind of what you're spending your money on and how you're budgeting.
Thank you. So what are your thoughts on how financial education can help?
Well, I think financial education is really important for everyone, whatever stage of your life you're at. Being able to manage your money effectively is really important, and if it's giving you the education and the information beforehand, and you know how to perhaps avoid getting into debt, how to choose the right services for you, whether that's bank accounts or credit cards or whatever options are available, it certainly helps you make an informed choice on those.
And from what you know of the Managing My Money for Young Adults, what impresses you about this course?
I wish this course was available when I was, starting off at university or a young adult. I really wish that, I had that clear way of having that communicated to me, of being able to learn that information in a really accessible and easy to follow way. I think it will hugely help people that are starting off at university, higher education, or any options, because, you know, finance affects everyone, and so I think it will be really beneficial to everyone.
So we've got the perfect course for you.
Yes.
Managing money for young people. Also anyone else as well. Anyone else that is managing finance, managing the budget.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much for sharing your time.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.